Welcome into the best in true crime podcasting. This is True Crime Tuesday. I'm your host, Tim Dennis. Got a very interesting show today, folks. I want to thank our good friend Alan Warren, who forwarded these two guests to me today. I got the opportunity to watch a really great documentary this past weekend, and it was interesting in this fact. I don't know how many of my listeners know this. I think I've stated it before that I come from a mixed family. I have family or step family that's African American. I love them very, very much. I mentioned last week that my stepsister's mom passed away, and I had talked a little bit about Charlene and dedicated a show last week to Charlene. It was sad that she went. She had a very tumultuous life, and I felt kind of bad for my stepsisters because that was their last remaining parent here on Earth. And I had my own sad feelings that Charlene went. Even though Charlene and I weren't close, it was sad for me that the kids lost their mother because that was kind of their last tie to parents here in Minnesota. And I think we all know how it feels when we lose a parent here in Minnesota. I'll digress and leave that for another time. I want to get into our guests today. And the reason why I mention this, mixed families, is because this documentary that I got to watch this past weekend really hit me in a different place and hit me where I live. The name of the documentary is Face of Hate. And it has to do with one of our guests today, Steffen Hou, who came from overseas, from Copenhagen, and has documented, and we'll get into it as we bring him in today, documented this particular, I guess we can call him an American domestic terrorist, who is, for all intents and purposes, an American Nazi. We'll call him what he is. And in his brush with coming to the edge of starting a race war, and what he did and how he ran afoul of the FBI and the aftermath of that, and Steffen's journey with Jasen Barker. Also joining us today is Adam Moyer, who I believe is the producer of this film. I want to bring them both in, and let's get a little bit of their backgrounds together. Ladies and gentlemen, here is Steffen Hou and Adam Moyer. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us today on True Crime Tuesday.
Thank you for having us.
Let me ask this right off the bat here, gentlemen. And I want to ask this of you in particular, Steffen. Now, this isn't the first major criminal you've followed, correct? Or that you've documented? I mean, you yourself are a journalist, correct?
Yeah. I started out 20 years ago, roughly.
Okay.
Where I dived into the underworld of human trafficking, and for quite a bit investigated how illegal immigrants were trafficked into Europe. I met with some of the illegal immigrants and the human traffickers, which was quite scary, to put it mildly. So that is how long it goes back with me walking in the footsteps of criminals.
And you don't just meet with someone in a safe place on neutral ground and interview these people, much like you and I are meeting on Zoom right now, along with Adam. You get right in their territory. You're right up in their face and right where they live. And you're putting yourself in danger every time you meet with these particular criminals.
Yeah, but I guess I come from a background that is classical journalism. Way before you actually used the internet, way before you went and got all your stories by dialing in a number on your cell phone, all the way back when I started doing journalism in the mid-90s, you went and you met with people. And I've always found it fascinating going into these different environments where it was so far away from my world. I remember how I traveled to Bangkok, Thailand, and went to visit prisoners there at the age of 22, 23, when I was starting out as a journalist, and saw how they were tucked away in little rooms supposed to fit 10 people, and perhaps there were like 50 in there. So all these different environments, like the one that Jasen Barker represents, has always intrigued me. And I feel very fortunate that I, as a journalist, actually am able to go out there and see for myself.
Adam, let's come to you real quick. What was the draw of Jasen Barker? And now Jasen lives in Michigan, which Michigan, as far as here in America, I mean, and you know, being here in America, is known for having groups of militia and some little seeds of, I don't want to paint Michigan with a broad stroke or broad brush here, but they do have little seeds of racial militias in Michigan. What was it particularly about Jasen Barker, of all people? Because he does have, spoiler alert here, he does have a bit of a Klan background as well. What was it about Jasen Barker himself that drew you to him and in this particular film?
Well, I think for me, it was just his openness. You know, it's kind of, for me, mind-blowing when somebody with so much hatred and bigotry could be so open about it. And, you know, and I don't think that, I think there's a lot of closeted racists and, you know, KKK members. But when you have somebody who's willing to just come out and say it all, I think is very intriguing and an interesting character. And this is obviously a character-driven story, so I think that was what really got my attention.
I found him amazingly open, maybe a little too open. Let me ask you this, Adam. Did you find that much like it's said that sometimes criminals are open to a fault and sometimes that's their downfall? Do you think that had Jasen been a little quieter about his actions, he probably would have avoided jail?
Probably, but then he may not have changed. I think him being so open about it and Stefan covering him as a journalist was very important to him making a change in the end.
Stefan, I want to talk a little bit about you in particular and about impartiality as a journalist, because I think, well, let's talk about you in particular and your personal background and having to go into the lion's den, so to speak. I have to think with Jasen Barker, it had to be particularly tough to not only sidle up to the guy, but then to have to cover him from day after day after day. But yet, not only did you sidle up to him, but would you say you became friends with him? And can you explain a little bit about your background and why it was particularly tough to get to know Jasen Barker?
Can you please repeat? It was cutting up a bit.
Oh, sure. Can you explain a little bit about your background and explain to our audience why it would be particularly tough to become friends with Jasen Barker?
First of all, I think that for most, excuse me for saying normal people, it would be difficult becoming a friend of a person like Jasen Barker, regardless if he is black, white, whatever. But when you talk about other people the way that he does, when you have this hatred for other people that he does, then it's really difficult seeing that person as a friend. And I felt that way in the beginning with Jasen as well. I was horrified by the way that he spoke of others and by the things that he did. But at the same time, slowly, I sensed this shift in him. I sensed that it was not only hatred and disgusting thoughts about others that was the person Jasen. I felt there was also something good inside of him. And it came out a bit step by step. And as it did, it created this unlikely friendship between us. Because I've always had a curiosity and difficulties understanding why Americans become neo-Nazis. Naturally, I didn't experience World War II, but both my mom and dad, they grew up during World War II. I had family members that were put in concentration camps, white Christian Danes, but because they were in the resistance movement here. My grandfather was living 3 years underground because he was haunted by the Gestapo. And seeing and listening to my family, hearing what damage the Nazis did to way too many people in Europe during World War II has always made it very difficult for me to understand that any Americans, they could actually salute that kind of behavior that the Nazis represented. So that was what intrigued me about Jasen and how I used my background, diving into his brain, so to speak.
As I sat and I watched this wonderful movie that you've put out, again, the name of the movie is Face of Hate, and you can get it right now on Amazon Prime. So we should let people know right away that you can get that movie right now on Amazon Prime. And we'll have a link in the description.
You can also get it on Roku if you don't have Amazon.
Oh, great. Okay. Thank you, Adam. We'll have links in the description of this program so people can get that movie right away after the program. I kind of felt for you, Steffen. I'm not going to lie. As I sit and I watch the formation of this, and I see you talking to this relationship, as I see you maneuvering around Jasen, because it's kind of like a lion tamer and a lion, right? I see you doing this dance between you and Jasen, and see you trying to get the ferocity of this, let's face it, sociopathic and psychopathic person. Because as far as Jasen's concerned, his way is the right way, and the right way isn't going to change. He even admits to you at one point that he thinks this is comical. He thinks it's funny. And he doesn't see any reason to move in his views. But you have a way of disarming him. And if I can ask this question, where does this come from? Where did you learn this? Where does it, is it an instinct of yours? Is it training of yours? Where did you come across this to learn to slowly disarm Jasen and tell him, you know what, try it this way, or have you thought of it this way?
I think it's instinct. I also think it is a question with the work that I do. When I go into a room interviewing a person, it really does what it is. I've interviewed famous athletes. I've interviewed prime ministers, etc. I've interviewed homeless people, people with mental health issues. I've interviewed Jasen, etc. And I always do it from the same point of view, that when I'm there, I'm only there to listen to their stories. And they're telling their stories of their own free will to me, so I better listen with respect. And I think that is what Jasen sensed, that I was treating him with respect. And probably that is not what he has experienced the most in his life. He has either been challenged by people in his everyday life because of his racial beliefs, which is fair, or he has been treated with a respect he didn't deserve, but that he would gain because of people being afraid of him. And then suddenly, I think he was met by a guy that just saw eye to eye with him. And slowly, that created this bond between us. But naturally, as a reporter and as a journalist and as with what I do, I come prepared. and I prepare for all persons on how to behave with them. If I go and I meet outlaw bikers, I let them start out by being these he-men. And slowly, we'll start diving into a conversation about their children. I'll tell them a bit about mine, etc. And by the end of the day, it's just two folks speaking.
Yeah. Adam, what was it about Steffen's technique, getting to know Jasen, that you found the most interesting and exciting, getting to disarm Jasen? Was there something about his technique that made you go, wow, that surprised you? Were you surprised by what Steffen was doing on film?
I don't know if I was surprised, but I did recognize that he was able to get Jasen to put his guard down and actually have a nice, calm conversation with him. And I think there was a little bit of, bravado going on with Jasen at the beginning, but soon, once I think Steffen sat down with Jasen to do an actual, one-on-one interview, it became clear that Steffen was not a threat to Jasen. And Jasen, I think, understood that Steffen was there to listen and not judge. And that's important. There was no judgment on Steffen's part. It was just listening and asking questions to dig a little deeper and find out what's really going on inside Jasen.
Steffen, was part of getting Jasen to admit to faults, was part of it having to listen to that bravado? Was part of it letting his ego come forward and just letting him blow hard for as long as he wanted to? Was that part of the drawing out process?
It was in the beginning. I knew that when we went and spent, I think, roughly a week with him to start out, because I came back numerous times. But the first time we were around for 5, 6, 7 days, I believe. And we wanted to get as much on camera as possible.
Okay.
Because it was clear that we didn't know if he was going to be there the next time we came back. He could be in prison, he could be dead, he could be so many things. So we want to get as much of this craziness on camera. Because remember, it's almost been 10 years in the making, the movie. So when we started out, it was also something quite new getting on camera, that these radicals behaved the way that they did. So we really want to get the camera in, showing them mixing bombs, getting them to tell on camera how they were preparing for a holy war, etc. Getting the proof. And that was the intention in the beginning. But he showed me things that I didn't expect him to show. And we came to a point where it was actually becoming impossible for me to keep quiet. He showed me around his backyard without giving too much away. But he had a pig pen there, and he had named this pig pen after a German concentration camp called Dachau. And naturally, that came as a surprise that anyone would do that. What came as a shock was his explanation, how these pigs were on the way to the butcher, and therefore it reminded him of what a concentration camp was like. This time it was pigs going to the butcher. Back in the 1940s, it was the Jews. When he almost bragged about he was also going to set up an even bigger pig pen called Auschwitz, I decided within probably 10 seconds that I was going to confront him with that I had family members who went to a concentration camp. And if that might change his mind of calling another pig pen for Auschwitz. And I decided, top of mind, to confrontate him on that. And I think that changed the course of both the film, but also the relationship between Jasen and I. It could have gone two ways. He could have basically have gotten a gun out and taken off my head, or done it with his hands. And I actually expected he was gonna, choose the violent path, because he chose that in any other matters in his life. But as I took 10 seconds, he did as well. And he came back after those 10 seconds and actually apologized for his actions. He explained how embarrassed he was of himself. And I think that he not only dismantled afterwards the sign Dachau on the pig pen, he also kind of dismantled himself, choosing that this was actually the confrontation that will get him out of his hatred.
That scene is very powerful, in that you use the word friend. You say to Jasen, "Well, I'm your friend, aren't you?" And you very much, you humanize at that point, even as he's trying to argue with you that he doesn't believe that the stories of concentration camps were true. And then he disavows how many Jews were killed in concentration camps. He throws out all the propaganda that Nazis throw out to deny or dehumanize Jews. And you continue to humanize the issue, which I commend you for. You continue to put a human voice and a human face behind what happened with that atrocity. And Jasen at that point can't deny it, because there's a human face in front of him telling him this happened. It really did happen. So with that, I ask you this question, Steffen. Why do you feel, and again, we kind of addressed it a little bit in the beginning of the program, why do you feel there is such a thing as an American neo-Nazi movement? Are we too far removed from Europe that it's easy for us to adopt an ideology that is ridiculous for us to adopt?
That might be a part of the explanation. But unfortunately, you see that even here in Europe, we still have neo-Nazis. And I think that it is so easy for these people to put a face on the hatred, because it has been so exposed in the most horrible way since the 1940s. It is so easy for them to cover themselves in swastikas and in tattoos of Adolf Hitler, and at the same time having their scapegoats based on religion, if it's Jews, if it's homosexuals, in America also if it's black people, etc. I think that these people, they would find hatred regardless if it's neo-Nazism or if it's just plain and simple skinhead bullies. They need something to prey upon, because in their everyday life, I think that they're feeling hurt. I think that they feel lost. I feel that they have very low self-esteem. And if you have very low self-esteem, how do you make yourself feel bigger? You do that by making others feel smaller. So to me, it was more a question about how can Americans, being so ignorant about what the Nazis did in Europe during the World War II, suddenly salute something that they know absolutely nothing about.
Yeah. I tell you what, I want to take a break here. When I come back, I want to talk about group mentality, and whether it be just a few people, whether it be many people, and why group mentality will force someone to hold on to an ideology longer than maybe they want to. It was relatively easy, it seems like, for you to go in and help change someone's mind, no matter how temporary or how long that may last. I want to talk about group mentality, and I want to bring in the people surrounding Jasen when we come back. I want to talk about Red in particular, his cousin. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit about Jasen Barker. We'll talk about his family members. We'll talk about the people who surround Jasen Barker and whether Jasen can maintain staying away from a neo-Nazi outlook, if that's potentially possible. And my guess, again, it's an intriguing film, folks. I encourage you to go watch it. It's available on Amazon Prime and Roku. It's called Face of Hate. And it's really, no matter where you stand in this world, is an intriguing film to watch, and a great study in humanism, for sure. Steffen Hou and Adam Moyer are my guests, both the journalist who participated in the film and the producer of the film. When we come back, we'll talk about a group mentality. Does a group mentality produce humanism, or does it produce hate? We'll talk about that when we come back next on the best in true crime podcasting. This is True Crime Tuesday. Welcome back to the best in true crime podcasting. This is True Crime Tuesday. I'm your host, Tim Dennis. My guests are Steffen Hou and Adam Moyer, both the producer and the journalist involved in the movie Face of Hate, which is available right now on Amazon Prime and Roku. Okay, I'm going to throw this one to Adam first. I want to get a look at this as someone who helped produce the film and got an outside look. And I want to talk a little bit about the influences around Jasen Barker. He has a cousin by the name of Red, who also has an interesting journey in this film. And we'll talk a little bit about Red here in a moment. Red isn't necessarily a good influence for Jasen, as we first find out in the film. In fact, he's kind of poking the bear, so to speak. And we'll talk about that here in a second. But Adam, my question for you is this, and I want your personal opinion about this. I don't want the opinion of you as a filmmaker, having seen what happens in this film. I want your opinion as Adam the person. Do you believe that a group mentality forces people to hate more, or do you believe that it forces them to become more kind to one another?
Okay, so it's an interesting question. I would look at it more like, does a group mentality influence feelings? And I think it can, absolutely. Is that going to be feelings of hate? Perhaps. There's going to be feelings of love. Perhaps there's going to be feelings of whatever else. But let's call it community. Community can make a huge difference in one's life. And if you are surrounded by a community of hate, you will become a hater. You will love that community specifically, but if they are promoting and preaching hate, that's where you're going to go. If they are promoting love, then that's where you're going to go. So I think it depends on what the community is all about. I mean, we're all involved in our own little communities, whether it's locally to our school system or different things that we believe in. If you're an athlete, if you're a runner, you might be involved in a running community. So, and they're promoting health. So I think the answer is yes, a community can absolutely take you in a direction of your beliefs. But what those beliefs are just depends on the community.
I noticed, Adam, interspersed within this film, there's cuts of one of the leaders of, I believe it was the clan that Jasen belonged to, and it was one of the older clan leaders, and it was just incredibly insane. The scenes were incredibly insane, and it had different things like him saying, "I love you, brother," and blah 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 blah. Well, there's supposed to be this feeling of tightness, this feeling of community, but there's also this feeling of insaneness and rage that kind of pours off of them. And I get that there's supposed to be kind of this feeling of lunacy that comes off of it. But at the same time, you also get this feeling that there's this world that Jasen belongs to that almost feels, well, like family. Like this is his home. This is his family. This is all he knows. And if he leaves this, what does he have? Is that the feeling we're supposed to be getting?
Well, I think so. And I think, I don't know if I would say what you're supposed to be feeling, but it's the reality. It's the way Jasen has lived his life for so many years, and his family was a part of that movement. His cousin Red was a career criminal. I mean, this guy went to prison for armed robbery. He got in a gunfight with the police. Like, this guy was a bad dude, like scary bad. And so Jasen's family, as an extension of him, was part of that hatred group. Not all of them, we talk about it in the film. So I think he, was just embedded into that world. And then beyond his family was more community that he dealt with that was also a part of that hatred community. So, that's what I think attracts us all to this type of story, is that we see this person who is, it's like watching a train wreck. Like, you can't take your eyes off of it because you're amazed by what's happening. But what I want to make sure that we touch on is that this is not your typical white supremacist KKK story. There is an ending here that is surprising and unusual for what usually gets covered. And so that's also what makes this story incredibly unique, is we see the transformation of hate to love. And I want to make sure that we emphasize that as well, because I think that's the most important piece here, is that this man goes from a community of hate to a community of love. And we see this transformation over the years.
And you're right about that. That is the overwhelming message here. So with that, and I want to get a little bit into Red first before we get to that part of it, because I want to save that for the end of the program here, Adam. Steffen, let's talk a little bit about Red here, because Red is one of those who undergoes his own transformation in this program, but it's an odd transformation. It's maybe not as obvious, is that a good word to use, as Jasen's. Red is a little more, I don't want to say conflicted, but Red is definitely one who I think, would you say he taps out because he sees the inevitability of where the path lies if he continues where he's going? Is that a good way of putting it?
I think you're quite right when it comes to Red on that. The last thing he told me in 2017 was that either he'd be back in prison or he'd die from an OD. He was doing heroin, and he expected that was one of the two ways that his life would end, behind bars or in with a needle in his arm. But then the most amazing thing happened to Red, where I don't think it was, as in Jasen's case, a question of actively choosing another path in life. I thought that it was more by destiny given it to Red. He meets a lady, he falls in love, and he has a son. And when he had a son, he experienced something in his life that he had never experienced before: love. And he found that love was a more powerful force in his life than the hatred that was the only thing he had known till then. And as he had his son, he decided to turn his life around 180 degrees. So I think that there are two big differences in the way that Jasen and Red have both turned their lives around. It was more by sheer luck with Red that it turned out as it did.
Okay, so now comes a difficult question. I'm going to start with Adam first. So you two have seemed to find the formula. The formula being this. You just have to take a hard-boiled egg and make it soft, right? You just have to find a way to reach each individual neo-Nazi and soften them up with love. Seems like an easy mission, right? So why is it that we can't seem to crack that egg? Why is it? I mean, everybody seems to have a family. Everybody seems to have individuals. Everybody seems to have, if you look at the average I shouldn't say the average neo-Nazi, but if you tend to look at the average structure of some, like, let's say the KKK, for instance, if you look at a lot of these groups like the KKK here in America, you look at these average members, they're members in society, they have jobs, they have families. Why is it that they function in society, yet they have psychopathic behavior, and love hasn't gotten through to them to make them see that their racist ways are not proper? And I want to start with Adam and say, why is that love potion not gotten through to them and changed their racist ways?
Wow. Well, we might have to bring Dr. Phil in for that one. That's a big question that I honestly had never thought about. But I think going back to sort of what Steffen tapped into with Jasen is maybe no one's listening. Maybe no one's listening to them. Their relationships are very surface, and there's no one sitting down and actually just listening and not judging and understanding where they're coming from. Why is it that you hate? Why is it that you feel like the KKK beliefs are what fit your life? And so maybe we all just need to listen to each other a little bit more and try and understand and find that middle ground, which everybody always talks about. That it's a huge question that I think is totally individualized, and everybody is driven by different beliefs, obviously, and there are causes and conditions for the way everybody acts. So it's a huge question. It's an interesting question, but one that I don't know that I'm qualified to go deep into. But that would be my thought.
Steffen, I want to ask you, you've been side by side with Jasen, you've been side by side with Red, and it seems like you got into their individual reasons. But when you look at it as a whole, everybody has a family. Jasen had a family that was right there. He had multiple girlfriends that couldn't reach him. He had multiple children. I believe multiple children. He might have had one. He had the one daughter. That at any time, that love of that one daughter could have broke him down and made him change his ways. But it took you coming into the picture to be the mirror to reflect him upon himself. Why do you feel it was you in your particular circumstance that made him realize he had more to lose than to gain?
I think that what I helped doing or what I did was actually take Jasen back way before he had his own family. And that may be where all the hatred in general stems from. You can be, really high on self-confidence, but low on self-esteem. And the self-esteem, that will come from the family that you're brought into mainly as a kid. The upbringing you have, the love or the non-love from your parents, etc. And Jasen, he had no love when he was growing up. The thing about Jasen is he had no family because his father left when he was 1 year old. And the mom died in his arms when he was only 7 years old. They were in a car crash, and they were on a dirt road, without any help to get. And it was just a matter of minutes before this mother died in the arms of a 7-year-old boy. And he realized that she was the only source of love for Jasen at that time. And it was a love he could not provide himself with later on. But what he could provide himself with was hatred and anger due to the loss of his mom. And that is how he got deeper and deeper into the hatred. He realized that the sorrow and pain he felt, it was so deep that there was nothing that could get him out of it except from getting hateful, getting violent, and angry. Because when he was in that violent moment, that would completely control his emotions. And when that was in control of his emotions, he wouldn't feel the grief that was more painful than anything else. And I think that is where we're actually, with the previous question you asked, where we can go back and start looking at why these people you talk about that are functioning and in control in their everyday life. Well, they're in control in their everyday life when it comes to their belief in themselves, that they'll manage, that they'll get through. But that doesn't mean that they like what they see when they get up in the morning and look at themselves in the mirror, or when they go to bed. Now we're back with the self-esteem and how you feel about the life you have been given, and not something that you can control. And when you can control things, you find this group, also the group mentality that you spoke about, where you back each other, where you actually give each other some kind of not real self-esteem, but you back each other in pretending that what you do, your action, your beliefs, etc., are okay. And that is also how Jasen fell in to the hatred. Because of him not having any love, having any family, he found that family when he met the Ku Klux Klan at the age of 16. And then it swallowed him completely in a way where he got 4 children. That's correct. Multiple girlfriends. He had aunts, uncles, etc. But what was much more powerful in his life was the sense of belonging with the Ku Klux Klan, because that was a sense of belonging he never felt as a child, since he was deprived of it at the age of 7.
I have to ask you, Stefan, and Adam, feel free to chime in after I ask Stefan this question as well. One of the things that both Red and Jasen have experienced is going to jail. And one of the things that's known in jail is that tribalism exists, especially along white supremacists. So you get in, you automatically, you group up right away for protection purposes, in order to survive, especially if you're a white nationalist. You get with your own kind, so to speak, in order to survive in jail. Do you feel this strengthens that bond? Do you feel that that makes it almost impossible at that point to break through that shell in order to get rid of that racist hate that exists? I mean, does that only strengthen that hate even more to get into that system and keep going through that system, and then being spit back out, be put back out into the real world, and you've got that new hatred again, and you've got a new mission? Is it just a cycle? Stefan, I'll go to you first.
Yeah. I absolutely think that's how it works. Once you're in that cycle, it's almost impossible breaking out of. It takes something very powerful to break the cycle, because once it's broken, it's not enough. You also need to escape it and create a new life that will not take you back. So once you're in the prison system, as both Red and Jasen were, it was catapulting the hatred into a new dimension. And especially in the prison system where you don't have much to live and breathe for. So the hatred actually becomes some kind of life force for them in there. But eventually they were both released. They've been back and forth to the prison system. But the last time that Jasen went back, he managed to break that cycle by staying clear of the white supremacy gangs in there. And by some kind of miracle, and I do believe that the picture that we've been doing, the filming we've been doing, has helped that along. Because during our journey together, he found out that there was actually something outside this little world, this little bubble of hatred and racism that was worth living for. I think he realized that he actually had those children that you mentioned before, that he actually had a family now that was not racism. So the cycle in his case was broken, and he escaped.
Adam, do you feel like this cycle continues on and on and on, and it takes something special to break it, or do you feel like it's just a matter of getting someone involved to break it?
I think it can be broken, and I think that Jasen proves that. And I think, again, going back to individual lives, Jasen was lucky to realize that he does have a family outside of this cycle, outside of this hate, and I think that helped bring some reality to his life and make him realize that I don't need to be involved with this group of people and this hate in order to be loved. He's got it right in front of him. So I do think it can be broken, and it takes that moment, and maybe it was Stefan approaching and confronting him about this kind of stuff made him think twice about it. I think that when Jasen goes back to prison during our filming, I think that he really looked at the friendship with Stefan and realized that, Stefan was, I don't want to say preaching, but he was getting Jasen to pull out some emotions and things that maybe Jasen didn't even realize he had.
Yeah.
And it made him realize that he's either going to continue a life in prison or not have much of a life on the outside.
Let me ask you this, Adam. Do you feel like the responsibility is now on Jasen and Red to continue to maintain that lifestyle, or are they going to need maintenance throughout their lives to stay on the straight and narrow? Is it something where now it's their responsibility to reach out to other clan members, to other white supremacists, and continue to break them of cycles? Should they now continue the work that Stefan's done with them? Is it something where they need to be the people now to reach out? Do they carry a heavier weight? Do you feel that may be the next course of action?
I think that is the next course, and Jasen has already shown a lot of interest in wanting to go out and tell his story and help people get out of the movement. He really wants to, at one point he talks about how he was out there recruiting some of the guys that he even saw in the what were the riots down there in a few years back in 27 Charlottesville. Yeah. He saw some of the guys that he had recruited during the news coverage of the Charlottesville riot. And so he is very interested in going out and trying to help educate these guys that were part of the movement that he recruited into it. So I don't know so much about Red is on that track, but Jasen definitely is interested in continuing the education of these folks, and I think that he does feel responsible to want to do that.
In wrapping up today, Stefan, my last question for you guys is this. It's stated in the movie that Jasen and his group were American domestic terrorists, and that when you two came along, that they were planning something big. It isn't stated how big, but can you just give us an idea? I mean, you used the word yourself, holy war. The FBI got involved. The FBI essentially sent Jasen away. He is a grand wizard. That's not a small title when it comes to the Ku Klux Klan. Can you give us an idea of what we were looking at?
I think that we were actually, and it's not to dramatize things, but I think that we were looking at something big. Remember, we did this over 10 years. And when we started out, they were planning on creating this militia. We were out there seeing them creating bombs, etc. And they were talking about how they were preparing, as you said yourself, for something big. 10 years later, when Jasen is totally out of it, the very last question that we ask him in the film is, to what extent he was actually contemplating domestic terror, etc. And one of his big idols back in the days was Timothy McVeigh. And he says that, he wanted to create something big like Timothy McVeigh, and having people know that it was him. He definitely wanted to cause the rockets, as he said. So I think that if they had the chance, and he freely admits that today, that it was on his radar, that it was on his mind, and that he was thinking in the way that he was going to do some damage and big damage to people, and he wouldn't mind if people knew afterwards that he was the guy doing it. So I think that just with a statement like that, coming from a man that I believe is 100% out of it today, but having the courage to admit that is also because it was something that he back then really wished and wanted to carry out in life.
Wow. Well, God bless you both for getting involved and helping turn them around. I mean, that says something, that a man was so deep in his psychopathy that he thought he wanted to take out scores of people and wanted to do it for glory and what he perceived as glory. And then at that point, you were able to reach him and show him a different way. I mean, God bless you both for doing that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Folks, I encourage you to go watch this movie. It is an incredible movie. The name of the movie is Face of Hate. It's available right now on Amazon Prime and on Roku. We have a link in the description of this program. Folks, I want to thank you both, Steffen Hou and Adam Moyer. Thank you so much for joining us here on True Crime Tuesday.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Folks, it's time for us now to lighten things up a bit. It's time for us to bring in Jessica Freeberg, and it's time now for Dumb Crimes and Stupid Criminals.
It's Crayon News story time.
What happened with this dude, Christ Bearer? I heard he cut his penis off and then jumped off a balcony.
Suspect pulls gun from butt, shoots twice at Denver police.
What is your emergency?
I need help.
And what's the problem?
I'm too high.
You're too high?
Yeah.
It's that time again, the time you're all looking forward to. It's time now for Dumb Crimes and Stupid Criminals. And with that, we need a co-hostess. So we're going to win out. We reached out to the far reaches of the universe. We couldn't pull any alien life in. I mean, that would make news, and I don't want to make news this week. It's a holiday week. So we reached out to the best in the biz. We went out and got her because she's got 3 books out there. We haven't made any movies out of them yet, so we're reaching out to filmmakers for that. But ladies and gentlemen, here she is, fresh off the Hindustan Times #1 bestseller list, Jessica Freeberg. Jess, how you doing?
I'm good. I might be an alien. You don't know.
That's true. I haven't checked into your background yet. I've been a little busy to run background checks.
What undercover alien.
What planet would you come from then?
Uranus, of course.
Ah, yes, that's true. See, I overlooked the obvious joke there, I guess. Yeah. Well,
I like to go for the low-hanging fruit, Tim.
I appreciate that. You're a comedian after my own heart.
Where my brain is these days.
Yeah, that's right. That is also where we pull the stuffing out of the turkey this week. That's
ironically,
yeah. You got big plans for the holiday?
Oh, well, first of all, it is my birthday on Thanksgiving this year.
Is it?
Yeah. So my big plan is to get another year older.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hosting, which I keep joking, like that is not a birthday gift to myself.
No, it's not. No.
It's going to be a lot, but it's fun. I'm always hosting, so it should be fine.
That's kind of a horseshit birthday gift. I'm not going to lie.
Well, the nice thing will be I'll be able to be like, well, it's my birthday. And then everyone will be like, okay, we'll do it. We'll clean up. You just go sit down.
Oh, we'll clean up. Shouldn't they be cleaning up every year? Isn't that the deal?
Right? I know. I do all the work.
Oh, my God. That's horrible.
Yeah, I know. It's hard.
All right,
it's hard being me.
I'm going to have to sit down with the hubby and the kids and have a little talk with them, aren't I?
No, they help. I'm just teasing.
I'm going to have the grandma.
You have to micromanage, though. That makes me crazy because they're always like, just tell us what to do and we'll do it. And I'm like, just look around.
How many years have they had the house and the cupboards and the dishes and know where everything goes? You shouldn't have to micromanage. It should be body memory by now.
Yes. I don't know. I talk to my girlfriends and I'm not alone in this. Like there's just like this need for people to be told what to do. And I'm like, well, nobody tells me what to do. Just do it.
That's right. Just do it. Right. It's your house too, kids. You know?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
What are you guys doing? Are you hosting or going somewhere?
We were headed over to my uncle's house. But,
that'll be fun.
Yeah, he's. I got to tell you something. If I can, one thing I'm thankful for. My uncle has successfully triumphed over a couple different forms of cancer, and he continues to make the bird and a couple of sides every year.
Wow.
I mean, you want to talk about a tough guy? He's a tough guy.
Yeah, no doubt. He's probably not even bitching about it like I am.
No. No.
Doing it with a happy heart, Tim.
Yeah, he does. He loves.
I love it.
He loves providing for the family. It's so yeah. So to my Uncle Ron, just thank you. That's all I can say. Just thank you. That's kind of his gift to the family. So he hosts on Thanksgiving. So yeah, I'm just grateful that he does that. So.
He's grateful to do it, I'm sure.
Yeah. So we head over there, and that's kind of and then my sister is going to do Christmas. We do Christmas Eve, so my sister Steph will do Christmas Eve. So we've kind of got it all figured out for the holidays. So it's kind of nice. So with that, let's I say we continue this tradition of dumb crimes, stupid criminals. Jess, what do you say?
I think that sounds good. I love traditions, and this is one of my favorites.
Yes, indeed. We'll start it off today with a tradition of bad drivers. What do you say about that? It turns out that out in Orange County, well, not Orange County, but Orange, California, they still have the tradition of the bad drivers that can't quite learn that we've paved new roads and put new things in those roads as a historic fountain has been put in a little bit of, I think they put a roundabout in. How do you feel about roundabouts, first of all?
Well, I don't mind them. I mean, I know that people kind of hate them because there's a lot of accidents in them, but I was hit by someone running a stop sign a while ago with my kids in the car. I mean, it was years ago, and getting hit someone going 45, 50 miles an hour is much different than someone just, clipping you in the roundabout. So I'd rather have those benders than get nailed.
Yeah. The getting hit in a roundabout is a lot easier than getting hit going 45, 50 and getting clipped. That's for sure.
Yeah.
This person, I think, took the fountainhead on, which is not too easy, but not the first person ever.
Uh-oh.
Right. But not the first person to ever hit this fountainhead on, which is kind of weird. Let me explain with this story. The historic fountain at the center of actually it is at the center of a roundabout. I'm wrong. They did take it head on. The historic fountain at the center of a roundabout in Orange was hit by yet another driver over the weekend, marking just another incident in a string that dates back years. City officials say in this instant that the driver plowed into the fountain without slowing down, damaging it yet again. So they just keep driving straight in.
The thing with the roundabout, Tim, is you got to turn around to get around it.
Some people don't grasp the concept, Jess, that you slow down, you yield. That's another big thing when you hit the roundabout, yield. Mm-hmm. And then, people don't get that. They just think I just fire myself into the intersection and go, and everybody else yields. They don't get the whole European bit with the roundabout. City officials say in this instance that the driver plowed into the fountain without slowing down, damaging it yet again. This time, however, the driver was arrested after Orange Police Department officers discovered nitrous oxide inside the car. While a sobriety test revealed that they were not under the influence at the time of the crash, the 18-year-old Rancho Santa Margarita woman was still arrested for possession. Neither she nor her 17-year-old passenger were injured in the crash, which saw the woman jump a curb, slam into a bench, and eventually the fountain. She took it the hard way.
Yikes.
Yeah, yeah. And those were real sound effects from the scene of the crime, Jess.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So real. Like I was there.
Yeah, just like you were right there. While Orange County Public Works crews were already called to the scene to begin initial repairs, business owners in the area are disappointed by another instance that leaves their beloved Plaza Park, which was constructed in 1886, damaged. Jack Carlisle owns the Potting Shed, a small shop in the Old Town Orange area. He, along with other business owners in the area, say that there are about 6 accidents annually in the exact same spot. When cars are coming down here, they see a sidewalk. They don't see the turn, he said. The sidewalk is about the width of a car, so sometimes they think, oh, it's a lane, right? Well, not quite. Crash after crash, some so bad that the area has been shut down for months, and no matter what changes city leaders try to make, it doesn't seem to do the trick. Last March, a driver hit the fountain at such a high rate of speed that their car flipped over multiple times, causing damage so extensive that the area was closed for more than a year. It finally reopened in April after the $225,000 restoration project was completed. That's a hell of...
Oh my gosh, that's insane.
That's a big accident. I mean, come on. What's the speed limit in a roundabout anyways? 15 miles an hour?
I think my daughter just told me that it's 20 miles an hour, but I never go over like 10. Like you're going until you're like, coming out of it and then you start picking up speed.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, come on, folks. I mean, you got to see that there's this round thing coming up. I mean, you don't hit the gas and go. I mean, that, you want to naturally slow down a little, right? I would think.
Yeah, you would think so.
You'd think so. Among the safety measures implemented around the fountain are black traffic bollards, flashing lights, signs, and even metal poles at the entrance to every quadrant of the circle. Still, the crashes keep happening. I think they've planned pretty well. You think? I don't know. Maybe California drivers are that bad. Are they that bad?
They are kind of crazy. So my daughter goes to college in San Diego, and their interstate driving out there is no joke. No. I mean, they are going.
Yeah. Carlisle, like many others, are left without a concrete answer. Maybe we need something bigger that can visibly be seen that directs people. Like what? A traffic cop? What do you want?
We need something bigger. We need something bigger they can crash into.
What do you want? A sign? Roundabout? Go this way? What do you want? I don't.
A neon sign, Tim.
I guess. As for now, he's hopeful that necessary repairs can be completed ahead of the Christmas tree lighting ceremony, which is scheduled for the plaza on December 8th. Well, now you're going to put a tree out there to get hit. I mean, what are they going to do with the tree? I mean, are you going to put big signs around a Christmas tree? Please don't hit it with your car. I don't know. I think the people of Orange are a little reckless. That's what I think. It's just me, though.
I think so, too. I'm not driving there.
No,
I'm going to avoid it.
I wouldn't either. I think they personally scare me. All of them. Every single one of them. Just saying. Oh, let's see here. I should explain to people, Jess, that I have Comcast to blame for having absolutely crappy internet today. So I'll throw that out there right away today. So the stories are coming slow and not so often. as we stall for time between stories here.
Oh, no.
Our next story has to do with a man who I think was a little confused as to where he was hunting. We go to Denton, where a man was arrested for shooting arrows at people in a Denton Walmart. I think probably here's what happened. He was probably hanging out in the sporting goods section of Walmart and thought he was actually in the woods hunting deer.
I can see where you would get confused.
Denton police have arrested a 47-year-old man who barricaded himself in a Walmart store and shot arrows at people. That according to a police report. At about 6:40 a.m. on Thursday, it was bright and early too, so he did think he was out in the blind. See?
No, it's just like a regular hunting outing, just indoors.
Yeah, you see, he got his little thermos of coffee. He took his bow and arrow out there. He got his quiver of arrows, and he got up in what he thought was a tree. It was probably just a ladder up there, and sat up there, and he's aiming his little arrow, and he was waiting for a buck or a doe to come by, and instead he shot poor Agnes coming by in her cart looking for bargains on Thursday.
Poor Agnes.
Yeah, she took one in the leg. Who knew? All right. Yeah. At about 6:40 a.m. on Thursday, officers were dispatched to the Walmart at 2750 West University Drive. Several 911 callers reported a man who was shooting arrows at people. Well, see, that's the thing. He was either shooting arrows at people or he was successful at getting arrows into people. There's a difference. And that is accuracy. That's what we call it, folks. Accuracy. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. The report states that the man took a bow, arrows, arrowheads, and a hatchet from the store, barricaded himself with nearby items, and started shooting arrows at employees and customers. Oh, dear God. Employees ran him out of the store, and he left the area before officers arrived. Then at about 9 a.m., officers were dispatched to a call about a suspicious person in the 1100 block of Ector Street, which is about 1.25 miles from the Walmart. The caller said that a man had jumped her fence and was in her backyard. Well, because we still had good daylight for hunting, Jess. That's why he was in the backyard. Officers arrived and detained the man. The homeowner said she wanted to press charges for criminal trespass, so officers, of course, arrested him. After transporting him to the City of Denton jail for booking, officers discovered he was the same suspect as in the Walmart incident. He was also charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon for allegedly shooting arrows at people. From 12:01 a.m. to 11:59 p.m. Thursday, the Denton Police Department handled 359 service and officer-initiated calls and made 16 arrests that day. So, day's busy. I don't know why they felt they needed to put that in the story. Probably to make you feel sorry for the Denton Police Department. I have no idea.
They got a lot going on.
They do have a lot going on. Yeah. Another guy who has a lot going on. This story fascinates me, Jess. I figured I had to let people know about this particular story. I don't know. Have you been following the local news here?
Oh, I do watch it in the morning when I drink my coffee. Which part are you talking about?
There's a Wisconsin man who faked his own death. And
yes.
Have you seen this story? Okay, so this Wisconsin man fakes his own death and leaves. I mean, he leaves his family, leaves a family behind, leaves his children behind, and flees to Eastern Europe somewhere and ends up shacking up with this woman, right? Well, thanks to some police, they end up finding him. And their whole thing is, well, we're going to get our man. And he ended up leaving clues behind in an email. And I'll tell you more about the story here in just a second here, Jess. It's highly unusual. First of all, the reason the police department gave at a press conference here yesterday was so unusual. First of all, okay, so the guy fakes his death, but then you find him, and he did give law enforcement a reason as to why he left. But the law enforcement says, well, we want to get him back for the holidays so he can be with his children. He didn't give a shit. He wanted to leave. He didn't care about his children.
It's very nice of them, but he doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't want to be there. Clearly, he pretended to drown, and they were out looking for him for days.
Right. He was like, I don't care about my kids. So he left and went to Eastern Europe with this woman. He's not thinking about his kids. I don't think he's coming back for the holidays. I don't know how to tell the cops this, right? You know, the whole, I don't think he's coming back. You know, I don't think he's.
Can you imagine how awkward that would be for his wife?
Well, right. Let's just say like he decides, oh yeah, I think I'm going to come back and visit the wife. Right. But I'm going to go back afterwards. I'm going to go back to Eastern Europe afterwards and go hang out with the chickie.
Right. He just wants to come back and carve the turkey, and then he's going to go back and do some other kind of carving.
Yeah. He's going to, he's going to get a little boning with another turkey. It's like, what? I don't get where the cops are with this. It's like, well, we just want to return him back to his family for no.
I'd be like, no, I'm good. He can stay.
Yeah. I don't know where the cops' mind are at. Like, maybe this guy still has maybe he still has a bone in his body that there's a morality play here. Like, he'll think maybe, I don't know, maybe he'll feel bad for the kids, and I'll come back and see my kids. And what kind of odd family dynamic are you trying to set up for the holiday? I don't know. Let me read the story.
That'd be horrible.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we go to Green Lake, Wisconsin, where Ryan Borgwart is the man who faked his own kayaking death and fled to Europe and made contact with law enforcement and revealed how he concocted his plan to disappear. Borgwart disappeared on August 12th after he took his kayak onto Green Lake and never returned, prompting his family to grow concerned. Green Lake County deputies responded and found Borgwart's car and trailer. Boaters discovered his capsized kayak in a tackle box that contained his wallet, keys, and license. Divers from search and rescue organization Bruce's Legacy assisted in looking for Borgwart in the lake, so he cost revenue as well to try and find him, which reaches over 220 feet deep. That lake does. The sheriff's office spent 54 days searching for Borgwart. 54 days, Jess. That's a lot of revenue to look for a guy who supposedly is dead.
They were saying he has to pay all of that back.
Right. Now, Keith Cornican of Bruce's Legacy told Green Lake County's Mark Padal that if his divers were unable to locate a body, then there wasn't a body in the lake. They learned Borgwart's passport was used in Canada the day after he disappeared. Investigators searched Borgwart's home and learned that he cleared his browser, replaced the hard drive, moved money to an overseas bank account, and took out a $375,000 life insurance policy and communicated with a woman in Uzbekistan before he disappeared. So by now, you know, okay, he faked his death, right?
Yep.
Padal said at an earlier news conference, it's very clear that he faked his death. Now, in a November 21st press conference, Padal confirmed that Borgwart was alive and located somewhere in Eastern Europe. A woman who speaks Russian reportedly reached out to law enforcement and connected them with Borgwart. Maybe she's getting tired of him. I'm just saying.
It's like, take him back.
Yeah. I've met said Borgwart. I am not impressed. You can take him back now. Padal said Borgwart faces an obstruction charge and tens of thousands of dollars in restitution for what it cost to spend weeks looking for him on Green Lake, as well as potential federal charges. Padal's chief deputy communicates with Borgwart nearly daily. So they talk to this guy nearly daily, right?
Yeah.
Borgwart even sent a video to the sheriff's office saying he was safe, secure, and in an apartment. Well, that's mighty cheeky of him.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Well, no,
I'm check in.
I'm safe. I'm secure. I'm good. I'm here in Uzbekistan. You know, say hi to the kids.
Okay, bye-bye.
Yeah, bye. I'm here with old Grayface over here who doesn't want me anymore. Padal said, great news. We know that he's alive and well. The bad news is we do not know where Ryan exactly is. Well, he's not going to tell you what street he's staying on.
Right.
Yeah. Borgwart revealed to investigators that on August 12th, he hit an e-bike near the boat launch and paddled out on his kayak with a child-sized inflatable boat. After overturning the kayak and dropping his phone in the water, Borgwart paddled the boat to shore, got on his bike, and spent the rest of the night riding to Madison, Wisconsin. Just like the Wicked Witch. Dun, 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 dun.
I was going to say kind of like Dumb and Dumber, but yeah, either one will work.
Yeah, that one will work too. Once there, he boarded a bus to Detroit. The bus stopped to the Canadian border and continued on to the country. He went to an airport, got on a plane, and fled. This guy did more planning than he did for the kids for Christmas.
Yeah, that's a lot. But also so dumb because you don't think anyone's going to notice that you use your passport.
Right. Like they can't trace
Come
that.
on.
Yeah.
Just because you throw your phone in the lake, you're untraceable.
Right.
Like your passport is like your identity, man.
Yeah. According to Padal, Borgwart's biggest concern is how the community will react if he comes back. How are they going to react? They're going to think you're a scumbag.
And an idiot.
Yeah, and an idiot. It's not like they're going to throw you a welcome home parade.
No. They're going to whisper about you. They're going to laugh. They're probably going to call you stupid right to your face.
That's right. Yeah, you're not going to get the hero's welcome. That's for sure.
Brace for it. You earned it.
That's right. They're going to call you Bumblefuck Borgwart. Would that be a good one? I think that'd be a good nickname.
I like it.
Yeah, I think it fits. Borgwart reportedly said he did not think divers would spend more than 2 weeks looking for him, to which Padal responded, I hate to tell you, he picked the wrong sheriff in the wrong department. Do you think they have anything better to do in Green Lake?
I mean, I don't know. It sounds like probably not based on what I know about the area, but also, even if they did, they would still try to find his body to bring closure to his family. It's not like they're just going to be like, oh, we didn't find it. You know, like, time's up. Moving on.
Moving on. Borgwart did his research in choosing Green Lake because it's the deepest in Wisconsin. It didn't go the way he planned, Padal said. Now we're trying to give him a different plan. Padal told reporters he and investigators are going to continue pulling at his heartstrings until Borgwart decides to fly back. He pleaded Christmas is coming, and what better gift could he give his kids than to be there for Christmas? But he doesn't.
How old his children are. I mean, can they process what's happening? Because I'd be so mad at my dad.
Yeah, but right. But then, okay, come back for your kids, come back. But then the wife is there. You think
You know what they're doing though, Tim? They want him to come back because they can't criminally charge him when he's in another country.
That's
they're
right.
going to hang his ass out to dry.
That's right. The minute he touches down in the United States, he's criminally liable.
Yeah, he's going to get arrested.
That's right.
So I got news for him. You're coming back for Christmas. Your Christmas is going to be spent behind the bars.
That's right. That's right. And he'll be performing in the jail play, which is called "Keep My Ass Virginal." Yeah, it's a Christmas miracle. Yeah, I just don't see. I don't see where this guy is gonna. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the extradition treaty is in Uzbekistan, but I'm sure it's not a friendly one. And I tend to think if this woman in Uzbekistan gave him up, I don't think they're getting along all that well. So
No. And what does he have there? I mean, he has no good options. If he stays there, the only thing he went there for, clearly she doesn't really care about him.
yeah,
If he comes back, he's screwed.
yeah. It's just
Way to totally ruin your life.
I don't know how to tell him, but he got in a bad situation, and it's getting worse by the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Well,
This might be the stupidest criminal we've talked about in a while.
yeah, but and he's ours. He's from the Midwest. I have another
That's
one.
right.
I have another one here, Jess, from the Midwest, who really, literally thought Red Bull gave him wings. A man in St. Charles, Missouri, is charged with stealing a shopping cart full of Red Bull and leading an O'Fallon police department on a 120-mile-per-hour pursuit.
Oh, trying to make off with his Red Bull?
Yeah, well, it gives you wings. Here's a picture of said guy who believes Red Bull gives you wings.
No.
Do you think
bless his heart.
You think he finished the cart? He looks like he's stoned to the bejesus, that's for sure.
He does. He's a little slouched over and just, he doesn't look right.
He's seeing things, I think, is his whole deal right there. He's got the, look on his face, right? St. Louis man who police saw walking to his car with about $500 worth of allegedly stolen Red Bull energy drinks led officers on a pursuit where speeds topped 120 miles per hour on Thursday in St. Charles County. St. Charles County prosecutors have charged 33-year-old Anthony C. Simpson with felony aggravated fleeing a traffic stop, as well as stealing and driving with revoked, both misdemeanors, or while revoked, both misdemeanors. He is confined in the St. Charles County Jail on $50,000 cash-only bond.
Whoa, they mean business.
Yeah, he pissed somebody off, that's for sure. According to an O'Fallon police probable cause statement, officers were looking for Simpson on active warrants and were familiar with his prior stealing patterns, which apparently consisted of stealing Red Bull from local supermarkets. He made that a career.
That's the only thing he steals? That's so weird.
That is, well, everyone's got a kink, right? I guess that's his.
I guess.
Simpson has previously been convicted of stealing 3 other times, police said in a statement. It should be noted that within the last 30 days, Simpson would go to Schnucks and Deer Bags and steal Red Bulls throughout the St. Louis region.
That's a grocery store?
I guess.
Schnucks and Deer Bags?
Schnucks and Deer Bags.
Schnucks and Deer. It sounds like deer testicle.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah, Schnucks and Deer Bags sounds like something you'd shoot for it, and the guy from Walmart would shoot at. Yeah.
Kind of like a Rocky Mountain oysters, only deer.
Right. On Thursday, officers identified Simpson walking to his car with a loaded shopping cart of Red Bull at the Schnucks at Darden Crossing at O'Fallon, or in O'Fallon. Police said he passed all points of sale with the cart of energy drinks valued at $500. Police activated their lights and sirens and drove to the suspect's vehicle to arrest him in suspicion of theft and active warrants. Simpson took off, nearly crashing into a police cruiser and a sedan entering the parking lot. Simpson then led police on a pursuit on Highway 364, a multi-lane thoroughfare. According to the statement, the pursuit reached speeds of 120 miles per hour as Simpson weaved in and out of traffic and drove on the shoulder of the highway. At the intersection of Highway 364 and Motherhead Road, God, I love the way they name roads in Missouri.
It's so good.
That in stores, Schnucks and Deer's Head and Motherhead, and you got to love it. Police say Simpson lost control of the vehicle and crashed into a concrete barrier. Red Bull may give you Red Bull may give you wings, but it doesn't have brakes. I know that much. Owie. He then refused to get out of the vehicle until police fired pepper balls at him, which will get you to do anything. Pepper balls hurt.
I would definitely do what I was told if you were firing pepper balls at me.
Yeah. All resistance then ceased, the statement reads. I think he came along quietly after getting hit with pepper balls. So, congratulations to Mr. Simpson for being caught with $500 worth of Red Bull. I got a
way to be an idiot.
That way to be an idiot. That's right. Way to be a dumb crime or a stupid criminal committing a dumb crime. I'm going to tip my cap to a buddy of ours here on the show, the Blue Meanie. He's never in his career looked like this, Jess, nor has he committed a crime while doing so.
What is happening?
I know our friend Blue Meanie does color his beard blue.
Okay.
And he also colors his hair blue, but he's never been arrested while doing so. Now, you may have to refer to the video. I'll tell you what, I'll also put this, a link to this story in the description of the program so you can see the picture of what we're looking at right now. But a man with a blue beard was arrested for allegedly threatening to blow up an Ulta beauty store this past week.
Why Ulta?
I'll tell you in a second, Jess.
Where's he going to get his beard dye if he blows up Ulta?
Well, color crayons? Markers? I've never asked Meanie how he does his beard. I'm guessing it has something to do with the Ulta. I would think.
Would think?
Yeah. I mean, where else do you get blue dye?
Why is this man so angry?
I don't know, but he's in Alabama, so let's find out. I don't know how.
Right, go.
I don't know how you pronounce this town. Is it Opelika? Opelika?
Opelika.
All right, we'll go Opelika. Police arrested a 42-year-old man for allegedly he's 42 and he has a blue beard. All right, in all fairness, Meanie is in his 50s, but he doesn't dye his beard blue all the time.
Yeah, it's part of his thing.
Yeah, it's a gimmick, and he gets paid for it.
Yeah.
This guy just dyes his hair blue just because it's Wednesday.
Right. The difference is that's kind of like part of his brand.
Right. That a grown man gets paid for.
Right.
This guy just has a blue beard.
And other stuff going on.
You think
what did he have on his forehead? That he was all messed up.
I don't know. Should we look? It's like marker on his. Take a look at that. That's like marker on his forehead. He like colored his forehead.
It looks like his face is red.
Yeah.
Like he colored his face red with a marker. And then he has like a black line that almost looks like he put stitches across his forehead. But they're really bad. They're not realistic looking. And then he has a green nose.
It's like he let preschoolers color him in.
Yeah, it is. There's so much going on there.
There's a lot going on. He's got a lot going on. He's got a lot going on. Police arrested a 42-year-old man for allegedly threatening to blow up a beauty supply store this month, according to court documents cited by WRBL TV. On October 19th, Opelika Police Department officers responded to the Tigertown Shopping Center after an Ulta Beauty employee reportedly heard Timothy Lincoln on the phone saying, "I'm going to blow this up," with an expletive added in. So was it, "I'm going to blow this up, fucker," or "I'm going to blow this fucking thing up"?
Or "I'm going to blow this shit up."
Or "I'm going to blow this shit up." "I'm going to blow this up shitter." No, see, it doesn't quite work. Yeah, I mean, it just depends on what the expletive is. I mean, you got to put the right emphasis.
No, yeah,
you got to put the right emphasis on the wrong syllable.
Maybe he ended it with bitches.
Oh, bitches!
I'm gonna blow this shit up, bitches.
Yeah. Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's
what I would say.
Yeah, I'm gonna blow this shit up, bitches. That's a good one. As a result, Ulta evacuated all customers and employees from the store. I would too.
He just done angered a whole bunch of tweens and teens.
Boy, did he
let him loose on him.
That's right. Police arrived and arrested Lincoln. Lee County jail records show he was taken into custody on a charge of making terroristic threats. WBMA TV reported that Ulta banned Lincoln for life. Well, that's going to affect his beauty. I'm just saying, Jess. That's really going to screw with beauty.
I mean, I feel like he can accomplish what he's got going on at a Michael's or the crayon section of Target.
At a Michael's. He can walk in and point at the paint section and just go, I'll take plenty of that right there.
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't need your Ulta beauty when I can pay $2.99 and use a can of spray paint. Get the job done. Do you think if he asks nicely, he can guide Santa's sleigh tonight? I'm just asking.
What is the most terrifying Santa ever? Does he have like a camouflage tank top on? There's so much wrong with him.
He's gonna.
Oh my gosh!
Viva la revolucion! I don't know what he's. I don't know what revolution he's guiding there. It's the.
I mean, he's got the red and blue. It's kind of America. I don't know.
Well, with the green nose, though, it's the colorblind revolution.
That really
evidently
throws it off.
I have no idea. Good Lord.
I'm so confused.
I am too. I have no idea. But let's go from Ulta to another store chain. One man insulted our fashion sense. The other people are stealing from it. We go right here to we go right here to our own backyard, where a couple is accused of stealing nearly $1 million worth of Lululemon products from their stores. That's right, Jess.
Okay, as a mom of kids who like Lululemon, it's tempting. I'm not going to lie.
You're not going to lie? That's pretty tempting?
Yeah.
You might throw in with this.
No, I'm kidding. I would never. But yeah, it's expensive.
Well, $1 million worth of Lululemon products is what? 4 pairs of yoga pants and...
That's only like 10 things.
Yeah, that's like 10 things. It's really nothing. 44-year-old Jadian Richards and 45-year-old Aquele Laws Richards were arrested on November 14th in Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Oh, well, I'll be at that store on Black Friday.
There you go. Getting 15 things for $1 million.
I mean, it's 50% off that day. So I told my girls, we can do it.
That's
we
right.
We can make it happen. Well, now I'm going to be in there and be like, this is where the crime went down.
This is it. Yeah. A couple's been accused of stealing nearly $1 million worth of Lululemon products from its stores across the U.S. 44-year-old Jadian Richards and 45-year-old Aquele Laws Richards were arrested on the 14th of November in Minneapolis, St. Paul, and have each been charged with 1 count of organized retail theft, according to a criminal complaint filed in Minnesota and reviewed by multiple outlets. On the day of their arrest, the couple reportedly was stopped by store employees after a security alarm went off as they were leaving a Lululemon in Roseville, Minnesota.
Yep.
They did it the old-fashioned way. They put the yoga pants down their pants and ran like hell. Richards accused the store employees of racially profiling him. Smart move.
It doesn't change the fact that you were stealing.
Yeah, well, but besides that, racial profiling. Come on.
Okay.
The couple allegedly denied any wrongdoing and was eventually allowed to leave. And
wow.
They would have got away with it, too, if not for the pesky clerk and the gosh darn security team.
And their dog.
And their dog.
Google snacks under the counter.
That's right. They were later arrested at a separate Lululemon store in Woodbury, per the complaint.
They were just going all over.
Yeah, they were hitting them all over.
Wow.
The couple has been accused of stealing from Lululemon stores across multiple states, including Minnesota, Utah, Colorado, New York, and Connecticut since September, according to the complaint, citing a Lululemon investigator. How would you like to claim that on your W-2?
I'm a specialist.
Yeah. And you are security investigator for Lululemon?
Lululemon investigator.
Lululemon investigator. And what do? I stop people from shoving yoga pants down their pants. That's what I do. And I do it well. I can tell.
I bet they were selling this stuff though, like going on Facebook Marketplace and selling it.
Yeah. Yeah. And making a fortune.
Yeah. Selling it to soccer moms like me. I'll take a pair of yoga pants for $80 instead of $110 for my kid.
Tell me if you didn't see Lululemon yoga pants for $40 on Facebook Marketplace, you wouldn't pick those up.
I mean, yeah, I would think about it for sure.
Yeah.
I love consigning, so.
Doesn't matter how hot they are. You slip those suckers on and go to your meetings.
I'm all about the thrifting.
See? Another method involved one of them buying several cheap items while the other carried more expensive items with security sensors attached to them. Upon exiting the stores at the same time and setting off the security alarms, one person would stay behind and show a receipt of the purchased products while the other person would walk on with the other stolen products.
Oh, that is smart.
See? Following their arrest, police obtained a search.
Stupid yet smart.
See, stupid yet smart, right? See, it was a tandem deal. It was like a tandem bicycle of crime. Following their arrest, police obtained a search warrant for a hotel room that Richards booked at a Marriott in Bloomington, Minnesota. Guess which Lululemon they hit up there?
The one I will be at on Friday.
That's right. Upon entering the room, officers discovered 12 suitcases, including 3 that were filled with Lululemon products that still had tags attached. The products were estimated to be worth more than $50,000.
That's crazy.
Isn't that nuts?
3 suitcases, 50 grand.
3 suitcases worth of Lululemon. In a statement to NBC following the couple's arrest, Tristan Shields, Lululemon's vice president of asset protection, said this outcome continues to underscore our ongoing collaboration with law enforcement and our investments in advanced technology, team training, and investigative capabilities to combat retail crime and hold offenders accountable. We remain dedicated to continuing these efforts to address and prevent this industry-wide issue. The couple had reportedly stolen up to $1 million worth of Lululemon products in total. If convicted, the couple can face a maximum sentence of up to 15 years, a $35,000 fine, or both.
It was both.
You're going
Throw the book at him.
Throw the book at him. And give me my discount for backing that.
That's right.
That's right. I'm going to get a whole $5 off those yoga pants at Lululemon. So they're only $105.
That's right. What a bargain.
What a bargain. It seems like once a week on this program, we deal with an unruly passenger on an airplane. It turns out this week is no exception. As we travel for the holidays, maybe you're traveling to someone's home to join them for the holidays. This time, it turns out that Canadians aren't so nice.
Don't believe it.
You don't believe it? Well, listen to this, Jess. Passengers had to duct tape a man who allegedly tried to open a door during a flight. Yes, it just so happens it was an American Airlines flight. So we don't blame him. But yeah, I said it. A group of passengers sprung into action and stopped a man who allegedly tried to open the cabin door mid-flight during a trip to Dallas. I'm sorry, he was going to Dallas on Tuesday morning by restraining him with duct tape. The incident took place on an American Airlines flight in 1915 from Milwaukee when the Canadian national allegedly approached a flight attendant and asked to open the cabin door while they were in flight. He grew more agitated when he was denied that, according to the report issued by the Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport Department of Public Safety. That's a mouthful. The suspected passenger, not suspected, it says the suspected allegedly. That's confusing as well.
Really covering their butts there.
They really are. Yeah, they don't want to get in any trouble whatsoever. The suspected allegedly tried to rush towards the door, striking the flight attendant who was blocking it, according to the report. Passengers rushed to assist the flight attendant and tried to subdue the unruly passenger, which probably should have been put in the previous sentence, who allegedly kept asking to leave the plane, the report said. I don't think he was asking at that point. I think he was telling, I'm going to leave this plane. Yeah.
I wonder what was going through his mind. I mean, he's clearly having some sort of a mental breakdown.
Mental breakdown, or he was high on something, one or the other.
Yeah.
Flight attendant handed the passengers duct tape as they restrained him. I love how they use duct tape on planes now. It's gone past handcuffs and marshals.
Really, they'd just have it in their back pocket just in case.
I think they keep it in the galley of the plane. They break out the duct tape and they put you in your seat.
You can do anything with it. Have you ever watched Red Green?
Yeah. They love duct tape. Yeah.
Oh, it's good stuff.
And you're not getting out of duct tape. If they take and wrap that thing around you about 15, 16 times, you're not getting out of it.
No, and when you do get out of it, that's going to hurt.
Well, yeah, especially if they put it over your mouth. I mean, keep talking smack and they just... and it's taking half your lips.
It'll rip your lip skin right off.
Yeah. I mean, you're not talking for weeks afterwards. Just saying. It says they were able to tape up his wrists and ankles and lay him on his belly for the remainder of the flight. Oh, imagine if you have back problems. That hurts my lower back just hearing that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Airport police and the FBI detained the man and put him in a wheelchair and took him off the flight for a medical evaluation, according to the report in the FBI. No arrests have been made as of Wednesday evening, and the investigation is still ongoing. The flight attendant who was confronted by the passenger was taken to the hospital for treatment after she said her wrist and neck were injured during the altercation. The FAA said it's investigating the incident. A spokesperson for American Airlines deferred questions about the incident to law enforcement, saying our flights are just fine. No, we're great at service. Why wouldn't we carry duct tape to keep people down? The safety and security of our customers and team members is our top priority, they went on to say, and we thank our team members and customers for managing a difficult situation. We learned how to hog tie back at the rodeo, is what they went on to say. I love dogging American Airlines because I had a horrible experience.
You got to do what you got to do, though, Tim.
Yeah, that's true. But let's just say they're all a bunch of cowpokes on that airline, and they treat you like that. They've got a cattle prod back in the galley. I'm telling you that right now, and they're not afraid to use it.
Well, if you ever have to fly with them, you just got to mind your business and be a good boy.
Even if you're a good boy, they'll use it on you.
Oh, no.
Just saying. They just... You will obey. No, they do that. You're like, could I please get some water? No. Yeah, they do a lot of that. Yeah. One more story before we get to our not safe for work portion of the program here, Jess. Turns out a drug dealer was jailed after he made a 1 in a million type mistake. The biggest mistake you can make if you're a drug dealer. Let's see. Where are we going for this story? This is actually an interesting story. It turns out that a drug dealer was caught after he typed in one wrong number and sent a text advertising crack cocaine to a police officer.
Oh, shoot.
25-year-old Philip Paul sent the bulk message to a group of his customers, but typed in one wrong digit when he did so. Who sends manual text numbers anymore? I mean, they're all plugged into your phone, aren't they?
Yeah, but maybe you don't have them plugged in when you're a drug dealer because you don't want to get busted.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, you don't want them plugged. I suppose you don't. You don't want them plugged into your phone.
You don't want names associated with it. You can give away your list.
That's true. The incorrect phone number instead belonged to a police officer who reported the text to the proactive investigation team at Surrey Police. This is over in England. Detectives were already aware of a drugs line in Surrey in March, but thanks to the 1 in a million mistake, officers were able to identify Paul as the line holder. He was arrested outside his home, and officers found 337 pounds in cash, a wrap of crack cocaine, 3 wraps of heroin, and a bag containing 2 grams of cannabis. A number of messages from users requesting to buy drugs were also found on Paul's phone. So I guess the arrests keep going.
I didn't know you could deal drugs through your phone via text message. I thought you had to do it on the corner or something.
No. Everything's high tech now, Jess. Yeah.
I guess I'm stuck in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
Tim.
Nobody's on the
simpler time.
Nobody's on the corner anymore. Paul of Lewisham, Southeast London, pleaded guilty to being concerned in the supply of crack cocaine. I guess that's a British charge. Being concerned in the supply of heroin and possession of cannabis. He was sentenced to Chichester Crown Court in West Sussex on November 14th to 3 years imprisonment. Investigating officer Police Constable Joseph Brown of Surrey Police said drug dealing can have a hugely disruptive effect on the local community, and dealers make their ill-gotten money off the misery of others. If you come into Surrey to deal drugs, we will pursue you and bring you to justice, was his statement. I just think it's funny he got one number wrong.
Oops. That's a big oopsie.
That's a big oopsie indeed. All right, it's time now for our Not Safe for Work category here on Dumb Crime, Stupid Criminals. If you are at work, of course, put in your earbuds. You don't want your boss to hear this or the people around you. If you are at home and you have the little kids around, you probably want to lock them in a closet somewhere and be a good parent and not have them hear this either. And probably put your earbuds in as well. A while back, Jess, we had reported about a Colorado pervert who did some sick things to some pastries in a Safeway. This was a while back.
Oh, ew.
Yeah. Well, it turns out that he's been charged. It turns out that a Safeway worker was filmed inside Safeway. This Colorado pervert has now pleaded guilty and is scheduled to be sentenced Friday for a vile act that involved a bodily fluid and cupcakes consumed by guests attending a child's birthday party.
Oh, I'm throwing up in my mouth.
Just a little bit, right? 32-year-old Stephen Masalta, who worked at a Safeway supermarket, recently copped to attempting to commit sexual assault on a child, which is a felony, and a pair of misdemeanor indecent exposure charges. According to a plea agreement, Masalta will serve about 2 years in jail and be placed on 10 years of sex offender intensive supervision probation. Here's what this chomo, now we can officially call him a chomo, looks like. There he is right there, Jess.
Yep. He looks like a chomo.
He pretty much has the look, right?
Ew, he was putting his stuff in the cupcakes?
He was inseminating on cupcakes, yes.
My gag reflex is literally kicking it.
Yeah.
So hard.
Masalta, who was barred from having contact with anyone under the age of 18, has been locked up since his arrest earlier this year for repeatedly masturbating outside coffee shops in Loveland and Fort Collins. Yeah, evidently Starbucks got him hard. Yep. As part of the probe of those lewd incidents, police searched Masalta's phones and discovered videos showing someone, presumably Masalta, masturbating and touching his penis to donuts in what appears to be a grocery store. At the time of the
dear God. So
right.
He did it before and people ate them.
Yes, yeah.
I'm never eating a gas station donut again. Never.
Well, it was at a grocery store. It was at a Safeway grocery store in Fort Collins, Colorado.
Oh, Safeway. Well, grocery store. I'm just not eating donuts anymore. Thank you. I just lost 10 pounds.
At the time of the recordings, Masalta worked as a night stalker at a Safeway in Fort Collins. As detailed in a court filing, investigators said food items that came into contact with Masalta's seminal fluid and penis included strawberries in a plastic sale container. So it wasn't just the donuts. He went into the fruit section as well.
But now I can't eat strawberries either. God. I'm never eating again.
Oh, it gets better. Donuts, cupcakes, and a large bucket of commercial pastry frosting. So anywhere the frosting was, certainly his seminal fluid followed.
Oh, I have really bad feelings for this man.
Yeah. In one video, cops said Masalta touches his penis too and masturbates on a batch of 12 cupcakes that were ordered by a woman for her son's birthday party. On an order label affixed to the customer's cupcake container, a store employee had written, "Add Super Mario toys if we have."
Oh, that's so sad.
Yeah.
Please tell me they caught this before the mom came and picked up the cupcakes.
No.
Oh, Tim.
No. A Safeway manager who was...
this is the worst story you've ever made me listen to.
I'm sorry. A Safeway manager who was shown video images says that he believed Masalta's clips were recorded in the bakery and freezer areas of the Fort Collins store. The female customer had ordered a total of 24 cupcakes, which were consumed at a party attended by 16 children and several adults. Masalta was charged with 16 counts of attempted sexual assault on a child, since the cupcake special order label required sprinkles and Super Mario toys to be included, show the order was likely intended for children. Upon discovering Masalta's videos, detectives worked to contact the families of multiple children who ate the cupcakes.
I don't think it's attempted. I mean, that is sexual assault if you made them eat his semen.
Well, you have to prove that they did first. It's attempted until you can prove they ate it. Then it is. At the time of his arrest, Masalta was already a sexual offender for installing hidden cameras in the women's bathroom of a California church. Masalta was busted in 2015 for placing a phone inside a tissue box atop a toilet and surreptitiously recording 14 women and 6 underage girls. Masalta told a California cop that he masturbated to the videos he made, including while he was still inside the church. We can only hope that in 2 years that he spends in jail, that every single day is a painful one for him.
God, this is the worst. Oh, so gross. Okay.
Yeah.
You better give me a palate cleanser at the end of this episode or I'm going to be really mad at you.
Oh, there is. There's a palate cleanser at the end of the
good.
episode. Yes. Yes, there is. There is. Okay.
Oh, please let that be the worst story.
There's one more. There's one more. We go to jolly old England, I believe, for this one. I believe it is England. Yes, it is. It's England. Where a dad's excuse after hiring a sex worker for his 13-year-old son and offering him cocaine. Yes, he had an excuse.
Okay.
I don't know. Has hubby ever taken the son out for his 13-year-old son out for hookers and cocaine?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. You might want to check. Maybe I'm going to
double
the Thanksgiving dinner.
Double check with Logan when I get done here.
Yeah. Well, do it at the Thanksgiving dinner table. That's a good place to do it. Yeah, if you're going to check. I mean, so the entire family knows. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that plan.
Yeah.
Keep it spicy.
Make it. Yeah. Just say, hey, you know what? On Dumb Crime, Stupid Criminals this week, Tim mentioned that a father in England had hired a sex worker for his 13-year-old son and then offered him cocaine. I'm just wondering, Logan, did your dad ever do that with you? Was it a bonding experience for the two of you?
As I'm carving the turkey with an electric knife and right next to my husband.
That's perfect. See, that's the way to get it out of them. See?
Right.
Okay, good. Now that we've established that. An oddball dad was jailed after he tried to get his son, who was just 13 years old, to have sex with a prostitute and a snort of line of cocaine. He claimed, "I'm a good father." And that was a quote, Jess.
Oh, I was thinking that's child abuse at its finest, but he thinks he's a good dad.
Well, I don't think he's that good. If he was really good, he would have waited till he was 18. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm joking. A man jailed for 4 years claims he is still a good dad despite offering his son cocaine and trying to get him to have sex with a 26-year-old prostitute. That's right.
Wow.
Twice his age.
Okay.
I doubt that's one you want to brag about to the kids at school the next day.
Oh, no.
Daddy, let me have a bump of cocaine.
I mean, it couldn't be a prostitute his own age, because it couldn't be age appropriate because hopefully there aren't any.
Oh, that would be worse. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's grimy at best. Here's what the man told his son after he organized for 2 sex workers to visit a hotel in Bromley, Greater London. He told the kid,
wow.
Yeah.
One for you and one for me. He is a good dad.
It's a father-son.
Sharon.
I know it's father-son bonding activity here, Jess, right? He told his son, don't be a pussy. The young lad, who cannot be named, bravely told his dad, "I'm fucking 13. That's ridiculous," when he was offered a line of cocaine.
Yes, I love this kid. There's hope for him yet.
He's got bigger balls than his dad, evidently. Just saying. At his sentencing hearing, the man told Croydon Crown Court he is a great father, despite appearing to have some weird and very skewed views on what is good parenting. He said, quote, "I'm a good father," he insisted, after he pleaded guilty to arranging for a child to engage in sexual activity as well as offering to supply cocaine. He told the court, "I might not look like it in your eyes. It was only because he was feeling down because he'd broken up with his girlfriend, and he said he'd done all that stuff before." He added, "So he brass..." What? Holy shit, I don't know if I can say this. "So the brass sucked his penis, job done. Whatever." I don't know if I know that term in British.
That must be an English thing we don't understand.
I think so, yes. The prosecutor, Judith Benson, said the boy's mom had reluctantly agreed for him to spend a night with his dad, but when the boy arrived, his dad offered him a line of cocaine and said, "I've brought a brass." Meaning I brought a, yeah.
That must be what they call a hooker.
I guess.
Yeah.
When his son told him he didn't want that, the dad blamed it on the boy's mom being overprotective and told him, "Don't be a pussy." The dad added that the sex workers were already in a taxi, so it was a little late to cancel. Ms. Benson said when the two women arrived, the dad told him his son was 18 years old, so he lied about his age. The boy was then taken into a separate room where he reluctantly allowed a 26-year-old sex worker to perform a sex act on him, the court heard. In a police statement, the boy said he didn't want to do it, and he was left feeling disgusted. The dad then paid the woman 150 pounds each, or women 150 pounds each, and they left. The boy's mom messaged and phoned throughout the night, but the first response she got was from the dad at 4 a.m. saying, "Piss off. I'll guard him with my life. Let the boy stretch his wings." When she later found out what happened, she took her son straight to the police station, and the dad was arrested. Representing himself in court, the dad told the judge, "I've genuinely got a good heart. On paper, I must sound like an absolute reprobate, but that's not the case at all." Really? Prosecutor Ms. Benson explained that the Crown would be applying for a sexual harm prevention order, banning him from unsupervised contact with children. The dad replied, "I thought I would treat him, get his dick sucked, job done. I'm not a prolific sex offender. I find that harsh. I'm not a danger to children. It was just my boy."
Be a danger to my own child.
He's 13.
Big deal.
Jesus.
Oh my God, he's just a kid.
Yeah. Judge Anthony Hyams Parrish told the dad he had attempted to humiliate his own son into going along with it. He said he seems to be a very bright, intelligent, and very sensible young man, but at 13, he was young and impressionable. As his father, he no doubt looked up to you. He didn't have a choice. He went along with what you asked. You clearly gave no thought to the impact on your son. The judge sentenced him to 4 years in prison for arranging a child sex offense. The dad will be subject to sex offense notification requirements for life and was given a 10-year SHPO. Concluding the sentencing hearing, Judge Hyams Parrish praised the son's bravery. He should feel no guilt whatsoever. He was the more sensible person in all of this.
Certainly was.
Yeah. I commend him for being as brave as he was and for talking up to the old man. That's for sure. All right. Palate cleanser, Jess.
Ooh, okay, I deserve it.
Although there is a little bit of a funny thing at the end of this article that I need you to see. That may be a little not safe for work. So there is a little bit of not safe for work here, but it is a palate cleanser. All right. We go to Montana for your palate cleanser, where the owners of a Montana barbecue joint are recovering from a brisket heist. Yes, they had brisket stolen from them, so it must be good food, right?
Sounds delicious.
Right. The case of the missing brisket remains unsolved. We go to Laurel, Montana, where owners Todd and Christina Payne of Burnin' the Bone Barbecue Smokehouse in Laurel, burning the bone,
Burning the bone. I like that.
Had quite the shocking discovery Tuesday night after seeing that not one, but two of their beloved briskets were stolen right off their smoker. They say there's no such thing as life without love, but at Burning the Bone, there's no such thing as barbecue without brisket. It's quite a fan favorite at the restaurant. I had the ribs once, but the brisket is my favorite, said Linda Parsons, who is a restaurant regular. The brisket and nachos are our favorite, said Jennifer Blom. She and her daughter eat the brisket nachos every Wednesday afternoon. Here's a shot, Jess, of the outside of the restaurant right there. That's a look at their the front of their store right there. Burning the Bone.
Ooh.
Yeah, Burning the Bone.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, they got quite the storefront there. Looks quite nice. I mean, smoking meat isn't the easiest restaurant to run. You got 12 to 20 hours to smoke the brisket and stuff, so it's a lot of hours, Todd said. Todd and Christina opened the restaurant in August. Over the past few months, they've developed a small core of regular customers. Everything seemed normal until Tuesday night. Yeah, we should have had cameras up, but we also didn't expect anyone to steal a brisket off our smoker either, Todd said. Now, to be fair, with most barbecue restaurants, the smoker stays outside, Jess. They'll put that smoker outside.
Oh, right.
Because you don't have a built-in smoker in a restaurant. It's too expensive. Now, our good friends over at Jelly Bean and Julia's recently moved to Coon Rapids, and they have a smoker attached to the restaurant. It's built into the restaurant, but they had to get a special permit to do that.
Ooh.
And that smoker, which was made in Austin, Texas, cost $25,000. Well, as it turns out, not all restaurants can do that. In fact, a lot of restaurants have to leave their smokers outside. They can't build that smoker into the restaurant because a lot of times that smoker will cost more in order to put the restaurant or to put the smoker in the restaurant. So a lot of barbecue restaurants leave their smokers outside. So
that makes sense. That makes more sense of how their briskets got stolen.
That's right. So that's why they got two briskets lifted. Okay. So Parsons went on to say, I think it's horrible. And Jennifer Blom went on to say, I think it's stupid and it sucks. People are mean. They take food out of the Payne's family's mouths. It's just really crappy. Now, Todd and Christina are installing precautions like video cameras and a fence to ensure that the incident doesn't happen again. Precautions for an avoidable situation, the Paynes say. I tell them that we are very generous people. We would have fed them if they would have come in and asked me for food. I would have given them a brisket off my smoker, Todd said. Which is really generous, right?
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing that got me in the not safe for work part of our program. As I read this article, I'm thinking, well, that's a really nice palate cleanser to talk about. And it gives us a chance to talk about our good friends over at Jelly Bean and Julia's, right?
Yeah.
And a reminder that when you're out and about on Black Friday and you're out in Coon Rapids, if you're out in that area or out in Anoka, to stop by over on Coon Rapids Boulevard there and visit our friends at Jelly Bean and Julia's. Stop by for a drink, for a meal. They've got an excellent smoked prime rib on Friday nights. Go see them, right? And I'm looking at the name of the restaurant, Burning the Bone Barbecue.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Thinking we just got done with not safe for work. There's an ad right below the article talking about the Crescendo 2.
Oh my goodness, it's a dildo.
It's an ad for a dildo right below Burning the Bone Barbecue. Talk about AI placement.
That's great.
Isn't AI dirty?
I can live with that though, as long as that weird guy from the other story didn't come put his weenie on the brisket.
Right, yeah, as long as he didn't try to put his own glaze or sauce on the brisket, I think we're good.
Oh,
yeah.
Gross. I'm going to have to go bleach my mouth, my eyes, my ears, my everything after this episode. I'm so disgusted.
That, I think the first time I read that story, I think I read it with Mally here and she was just like, oh my God. Because, okay, so that was at Fort Collins in Colorado. But when we used to do trips to the Stanley, there was one literally right across the little street. I mean, you could walk to the Safeway right there in Estes Park. So you could walk. You didn't want to because you'd lose your breath because you're up in the mountains.
Right.
But we used to get our supplies from, because you had a refrigerator in your room at the Stanley Hotel. So we would get like sandwich material and stuff. And every once in a while you'd pick up baked goods, right? Like for the morning. And you were like, oh, so you're like, did that guy ever work at the one in Estes Park? And you're like, oh, and you're like, no, wait a minute. He didn't work for Safeway that long because, mind you, that was years and years ago.
Right. But you were safe. You didn't eat anybody's penis-touched food.
Oh.
I mean, I can't guarantee that, but...
No, but still. Oh.
I'm going to bleach my strawberries. I'm going to bleach my donuts. I'm going to die from bleach poisoning.
Or at least just wipe them off with, I don't run them under the faucet. I don't know. I don't know what you do.
Not enough. It's penis juice. It's so gross.
Yeah.
Oh. Well,
on that note, happy Thanksgiving. Eat lots of turkey.
Enjoy your gravy.
Yeah. Now let's talk about injecting your turkey with butter. No, I'm just, no. That's it. No.
You're ruining everything,
I know,
Tim.
Aren't I? Injecting your turkey with something. Anywho, but yeah, so we've got a big week ahead for you. We've got, of course, Supernatural News tomorrow. And then an old friend that I had promised a couple weeks ago is back on the program for your Thanksgiving. So we have a brand new show for you on Thanksgiving, which, by the way, we've tried to do on holidays, try to have brand new material for you on holidays, brand new shows for you on holidays. So in case you're not a huge football fan and you don't necessarily want to sit and watch the Giants and Cowboys, which, by the way, is a stinker of a game. By the way, that's Fox's way of giving you the finger on Thanksgiving. And maybe you want some other type of programming, or you want some other type of something to either watch or listen to. We have a brand new show for you on Thanksgiving. So that's our gift to you on Thanksgiving, and our way of saying thank you for following us all year round. So, and being our friends on Thanksgiving, that's our way of being thankful to you, is giving you a brand new show on Thanksgiving. So, and boy, is it a doozy. I'll just say that. It's a good one.
You're going to tease it? You're going to tell us who it is?
I'll put it this way. You know how on Thanksgiving we like to be not only thankful for what we have, but we are thankful for things in our past? We'll be talking about certain things in our past while also discussing things in the future, things in space, things that may transport us from one place to another.
I'm intrigued.
We'll be doing so with an old friend. I gotta make it somewhat vague, and tomorrow I'll tell you on the show who it is. But
that's good. That's good. I like the tease, though. It's exciting.
Yeah. So, but it's a very interesting show on Thursday. So I think you guys will be riveted. Very good show. So, and we got lots of good shows coming up in December. I'll put it to you this way: we have a book on, I believe, Sasquatch coming up that was written by an author who has since passed away, but the book was finished by his son.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's coming up in December. We have lots of good stuff coming up. And it's a very famous author who's passed away, and his son finished up that book. So that program is coming up in December. Lots of good stuff. Lots of good stuff coming up. So yeah, lots of good stuff ahead in December. Lots of holiday treats for you. And again, if there's some guests that you want to hear on this program, please drop me a line, tim@darknessradio.com. We appreciate it. So that'll do it for today. For Jessica Freeberg, I'm Tim Dennis. Thank you so much for tuning in to the program. Again, the movie, I encourage you to go watch the movie that we covered in the first part of the program. Face of Hate is the name of the movie. It's available on Amazon Prime and on Roku. And Steffen Steffen Hou and Adam Moyer are the two filmmakers. Steffen Hou is the journalist in the movie. It covers Jasen Barker and his redemption from the white power and neo-Nazi movement. So there's a link in the description of this program. So go watch that movie. That'll do it. Thank you so much for joining us today on True Crime Tuesday. For Jessica Freeberg, I'm Tim Dennis. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow for Supernatural News right here on Darkness Red.